Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of the Jasmine Star Show. I'm not one for small talk, so let's dive in. I'm going to start off with a little bit of story. So put yourselves in the seat of a gray Range Rover, driving through Lansing, Michigan, coming by way of Grand Rapids, and we're heading to the shore. So JD and I, we were driving with the windows down, and the air was sticky as we laughed our way past cornfields. Cornfields. Y'all, this California girl, I have never seen so many cornfields as I have in Michigan. Now, if you're from Michigan and you don't think there's a lot of cornfields, y'all have way more cornfields than we do in California. So JD, he's my husband and business partner. We were in Grand Rapids visiting friends, and they insisted, yo, let's go and take a dip in Lake Michigan. And we're like, okay. So we packed up their car and we listened to terrible 90s pop music. Come on. Who doesn't love a little bit of terrible 90s music? And then we made our way to the shore. By the time we arrived, I had successfully talked myself out of swimming in the lake. Okay, because I went in and I was like, I'm going to have adventure. I'm going to be the person I always dreamt about being as a kid. And then all of a sudden I was like, ew, no, fish scare me. I just washed my hair. Water is wet. There are rocks. Okay, like I came up with 1,000 excuses. And so I told my friends, hey guys, I'm going to be the judge and y'all go and do a handstand competition. And then they did. JD rolled his eyes and he's like, yeah, try living with my wife. This is what she is. She's the manager and she's the judge. Jasmine just likes to make up the rules. And I was like, yo, y'all love me for it. So they all dove headfirst into the icy water. It felt like it was a bath of just ice cubes. So 20 minutes later, we're all sitting down at the rocks and we're trying to warm ourselves. Well, except me. I wasn't trying to warm myself because I wasn't wet. And then JD looked down on his hand and he realized that he was missing his wedding ring. My husband lost his wedding ring in the expansiveness of Lake Michigan. And I don't know if I should repeat that last part again. Lake Michigan, also known as the largest freshwater lake in the world. He lost his ring in the largest freshwater lake in the world. So my husband, ever optimistic, and my husband is also wildly undaunted, he ran back into the lake and then he said, don't worry, I promise I'm going to find it. And I was just like, no. And so again and again, he dipped his head underneath the dark water and he was searching for the ring. And I was standing on the shore and I kept on like yelling, like, it's okay, come back. Like I was afraid that I was going to lose my husband and his wedding ring to hypothermia. And I was like, come back in from the shore. It's hopeless. Not come back in from the shore. I was on the shore and I was like, come back in from the water. Look at me. I can't even get my story straight because it just stresses me out thinking about it. And I was like, it's hopeless. Come back in. What are you doing? Don't waste your time. And then he ignored. This brother ignores me until he raised a triumphant fist in the air. And his laughter was ricocheting off the waves. My husband found his wedding ring. I have to tell you, I think of this story a lot of times when people tell me that they feel overwhelmed in their business. They don't know how to take the first step. They're feeling buried underneath day-to-day business tasks and dinners to make and kids to homeschool or send to school or register in school, like just all of the school. And if it's not school, then it's a pile of homework. And I get it. It's not easy to get unstuck. I get that in a real way. Truly, I do. There was a time in my career that I would felt so overwhelmed. And because I was feeling so overwhelmed, I would just do nothing. I would think, I don't know how this works. I don't know where to begin. And so then I would just stop. But I'm here to give you a potentially hard pill to swallow. Clarity comes from action. Sitting around and feeling sorry for yourself, it's not going to do any good. Waiting for the perfect moment to start won't do your business any good. And making excuse after excuse so you end up doing nothing definitely won't do anybody good. So just like JD, you have to keep on diving back in to find the thing that you want. Regardless whether there are people screaming at you from the shore saying it's a waste of time. Hey, y'all, don't listen to those people. JD, if you're listening to this message, I'm not talking to you. Just kidding. JD, don't listen to me. Always remain optimistic and always remain undaunted. Those are the things that attract me to you. So homie, keep on ignoring me and finding them wedding rings. Okay. What am I trying to say? It's not just a conversation about me and JD, and it's not about diving into cold waters looking for a tiny piece of metal. What are we actually talking about? Taking action. Messy action, scary action, ugly action, to just do something, because that is how you build momentum in your business when you feel stuck. But y'all know, I'm not here to beat anybody up. I say it in love, okay? Tengo pasión, okay? I'm not, oftentimes my friends who are not Latino will be like, why are you yelling at me? I'm like, I'm not yelling, I'm passionate, okay? So this is me saying, let's get passionate with some practical advice. So here it is. If you're feeling overwhelmed, and you don't know what steps to take, here's an approach that I normally recommend. Create a brain dump. Like step number 1, create a brain dump. These are all the things that you could be doing, like all the things on your mental to-do list, like things that maybe you've been putting off or maybe you just haven't found time for. The act of writing something down, like scientifically, the act of writing something down means that your brain doesn't feel responsible to remember it. That's why a lot of therapists will recommend having a notebook next to your desk or your bed. Just write it down. It frees the mind to not hold on to it. So once I have that brain dump, I'm going to move on to tip or step number 2. These are not really tips. These are just things that I do to help relieve the overwhelm. After I do that is once I have it in a notebook and I don't feel the pressure to keep it in my mind, when I'm ready to sit down and be like, okay, it's time to get unstuck or it's time to really release the overwhelm, I'm going to take out a piece of paper and I'm going to create 3 columns. Now, in the first column, I would be listing what would make me money, right? So as you are looking at your columns, you can write on the top of that first one, what would make me money? The second column is what is necessary in your business. And the third column is what would be fun to do in your business. So once I have all the things I've been wanting to do in my business, say like update my website, write an email funnel, design the sales page, things like that, they're all going to go in one of the 3 columns. So now that you have your 3 columns, you're going to prioritize your list from there. If you have something that is in all 3 columns, do that first, right? So let's just say, as an example, a website. I need to update my website. Well, it could go in column number 1, which is what would make me money? Well, my website would make me money. The website can go in the second column is what is necessary. It's necessary for me to have a website in my business. And the third column would be like, it would be a lot of fun to design a website that I'm really proud of. Any item that is in all 3 of those columns, that's what I'm going to be doing first. And once you decide what you do first, let me tell you, this is the thing that brings momentum. Now, just because I practice what I preach, I actually gave this same advice inside a private social curator coaching session at the end of last year. Y'all know I've said it before. I host private coaching sessions for social curator. Now, this curator, her name is April, and her business grew faster than she could handle in 2020. I mean, come on, y'all. Like so many people are struggling. And for some reason, April's business got bigger than she can handle. So by the end of the year, she was feeling so overwhelmed with her to-do list that she kept putting things off. Can you relate? Even if you had a massive year, or even if you didn't have a massive year, that feeling of overwhelm of all the things you have to do. Listen, friends, we're going to be facing this every single month as we are business owners. Some months we're like, things went so good, I'm overwhelmed. Another month, things didn't go so well, I'm overwhelmed. Y'all, like, this is why the strategy of itemizing, breaking things down, and then prioritizing is going to be the key to get you unstuck. Can you relate to this? Let me just tell you, you're not alone. Let's listen into this conversation I had with April.
April, I remember April. Okay, April, I believe to the best of my memory, you do vintage artwork for like interior design. Okay, yep. I think you have a few reels. Like, what is it, 3 or a little bit more?
3 or 4, yeah.
Okay, see, I did some homework. April, how can I serve you?
Yeah, so I'm number 4 in line. So a lot of my questions have been answered.
Good. Great.
Which is awesome, which is great.
Good.
So
okay.
I'm going to make it a little bit more generalized and say, I started my business back in January before pandemic happened. It grew very quickly.
Wait,
which
you
is
have like
awesome.
20,000 followers on
I know.
Instagram. And
It's
you
crazy.
started 11 months
January.
ago.
I know.
Wow.
But so it's good, but it's been to the point where I'm always playing catch up, and I feel like I've never really got organized around like what's the brand vision, where's the business going. So I feel like because I have like so much overwhelm and like serving this community, how do I just get started? Like sift through all the like just feeling paralyzed of like I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and it's just like daunting.
Okay. So I love this because we are going to loop it back to Reels. But what April is asking is probably a lot of business owners are asking, because April was met with a ton of success. She starts 11 months ago, and now her, this is like one of my favorite quotes. This is truly the quote of 2020 for me, is like, overwhelm is the abundance of everything we asked for. So April, you asked for a successful business. You asked to be able to grow on Instagram. Guess what? Your prayers were answered, and now you're like, oh God, what do I do next? Okay.
Yes,
so
exactly.
there are people who are feeling overwhelmed for different reasons, but still the business overwhelm is real. So what I would suggest to anybody in the situation is to create a column of all the things that you think you could do. Right? You're just going to list, because when you say, do I do this or do I do this? Like, listen, I don't know. Just list it all down. And I think you're going to be surprised that while it feels like there's 27 things you could do, you're going to quickly see it's going to get a lot smaller. Because if we don't actually visually see all the things that we could do, we think it's a lot more than it is. That's the way our brain works. So what I want you to do is do a brain dump. Unattached brain dump of all the things you could or should be doing. This could be anything from, I need to get a Shopify store, I need to get a website, I need to go on YouTube, whatever the heck it is. Write it all down. Then what I want you to do is to create a column of what would make me money. And you're just pulling from that list, that big brain dump, you're just going to either put an arrow into the column of this will make me money. And then you're going to create a column of what is necessary for my business. And then a third column, what would be fun in my business. So now we're looking at 4 columns. Number 1, a brain dump, all the things you have to do. The second column is what would make me money. The third column is what is a necessity. And the fourth column is what would be fun. Now, right now we have this brain dump, right? We have this brain dump over here. Now, if you can mark a little checkbox of this would make me money, this is a necessity, and this is fun, you hit the gold mine. That's 100% what you should do next. I don't care that having your YouTube channel would be fun, because if it doesn't make you money and it's not necessary, that's really low on the list. So I'm going to tell you, April, that like it's going to show very quickly what you need to do next.
Okay.
Because what is fun in your business, that's just like icing on the cake. You're still so new in your business. Like right now you're just grinding. So the 2 columns I want you to pay very close attention to is it necessary and does it make me money? Mm-hmm. Because even if it makes you money, but it's not necessary, you have to take a step back and be like, is this for long-term growth or for short-term growth? Because what's necessary is if you don't have a website, it's probably necessary. If you don't have a Shopify store or some sort of like merchant account, that's necessary, right? Like what is necessary and what makes money are going to be your 2 things. But if it's necessary and it is fun and it makes money, ooh, that's what I want you to focus on. So all you're doing right now is you're not coming up with the next thing to do. You're just brain dumping, organizing your stuff. And then what we do is once you get your list, because when you have your list, you're going to be like, man, these 8 things I really, really need to get done. Perfect. Now, April, rank them. That's it. Be unattached. Do not be emotional. Don't think about what your family's going to think or what looks cool. It's just you rank them according to what you think your business needs. And then what you do is you say at the top of my list, hypothetically, it could be I set up my merchant account or I set up my print shop. Maybe that's at the top. And then you say, how long is that going to take me? And you say, okay, I think I can get everything done in 6 weeks. You think you can get everything done in 6 weeks. So you want to launch your print shop in 6 weeks. We're looking at the 3rd week of January. Say that's your date. Now you work backwards. What credit card processing? How are you going to promote it on social media? Do you actually have like a lead page? Like all that stuff leading up to it. And then you say, oh, you know what? I can't do it in 6 weeks. I actually do it in 8 weeks. No problem. or maybe you do it in 3. You don't know until you, number one, prioritize and then put a timeline to each of them. It is literally, it feels way more overwhelming until you just lay it out. I promise you, this is the way that every project on the inside of Social Curator gets done.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I never thought about it. I just kind of kept avoiding it. And I literally do all my reels and all my posts on the fly, and it's embarrassing.
Well, it's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. It's clearly not embarrassing because you're doing the work to get where you want to go. You have 20,000 followers. I'm about to show your Instagram account right now. But if anybody is watching and would like to connect with April, and the accountability comes from, I am going to prioritize what I need to get done in the next 3 months. Because I think that what April's going to focus on is, let's think of Q1 of 2021. She's going to brain dump, assess the 3 columns, and then she's going to prioritize what needs to get done first. And then she's going to assign a date for it in 2021. If you would like to join her on that journey, April, I am going to show your Instagram account, but I just want to say thank you 1,000 times over for being a curator. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Thanks.
I hope this sneak peek into a Social Curator coaching session help you get clarity on how to build momentum when you're feeling stuck. But guess what? I have even more tips on cultivating mindset and taking action and doing the work that you need in your business. Because if you can relate to feeling overwhelmed like April, that's why I created my free upcoming masterclass, How to Beat the Algorithm. Y'all, this is going to help you dig out of that hole, the hole that you're like, I don't know what to do next. In this 1-hour class, you're going to learn how to get your post seen by your dream customers, tactical tips in getting more engagement on your post, and the best way to get a small audience to make a big impact in your business. And we're going to be chatting about a lot more. We're also going to be doing live Q&A where people have the potential to come on camera and ask their questions and get business advice. Y'all, let's hang out in real life. I don't want to sit next to you in your car anymore or in the kitchen. How about we meet eye to eye? Boom. Okay. So if you're ready to get unstuck, save your seat for How to Beat the Algorithm at jasminestar.com/live class. Now, I started the conversation by saying, when things get hard, that's where people quit. When people feel overwhelmed, that's when people quit. But when everybody else quits, I want you to make the decision that quitting is not for you. You could choose to give in to that stuck feeling, or you could choose to keep moving your business forward. You could choose to keep going. You could choose to keep fighting. You could choose to keep pushing through. That's what I want for you. So you can get unstuck and register for How to Beat the Algorithm at jasminestar.com/live class. I'm going to tell you, you and your business will be better for it. Okay, as if it's not enough, this is me on the other side of my microphone asking you to come hang out. Let's hang out in real time. Let's connect eye to eye. And when you show up live, you will also receive a free guide, 10 easy reels you can make in your business. This is including with step-by-step instructions. I want you taking action, and you take action by showing up to a live class, and you take action by using the resources that we provide y'all. Again, that is jasminestar.com/free class. You can also click on the link in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there.